Thousands of years ago, survival was a daily struggle for ancient humans. Fire gave them warmth, but it wasn't enough to shield their bodies from freezing temperatures. After a hunt, they looked at the animal's skin and wondered, could this be more than just waste? That question marked the beginning of human clothing, one of the most important steps in human history. To preserve animal hides, ancient humans stretched them tightly over wooden frames and left them under the hot sun. The drying process was slow but necessary. Without it, the hides would quickly rot. For the first time, people learned how to transform raw nature into tools for survival, turning skin into something strong and useful. Drying alone wasn't enough. The hides still carried fat and flesh. Using sharp stone tools, ancient humans scraped away every bit of leftover tissue. It was exhausting, back-breaking work, but it made the hides cleaner and more durable. Each attempt taught them something new, slowly shaping the future of clothing. Then came a remarkable discovery. Ancient humans realized that animal brains and fat could be rubbed into the hides to make them soft and flexible. Without this, the hides stayed stiff and uncomfortable. By using natural oils and brain matter, they were unknowingly practicing one of the earliest forms of chemical treatment in history. To further protect their hides, ancient humans turned to smoke. By hanging hides above a fire, they let the smoke seep in. This not only prevented decay and insect damage, but also gave the hides strength, flexibility, and even a darker color. It was the first step toward what we now call leather. Once the hides were prepared, they needed to be shaped. Using sharp flint tools, they carefully cut the hides into pieces. Every cut had to be precise because wasting material could mean less protection in the cold. This careful planning showed how deeply survival depended on skill and resourcefulness. One of the greatest inventions of this time was the bone needle. By carving bones into sharp points, ancient humans created a sewing tool. They used animal sinew, strong fibers from tendons, as thread. With these, they stitched pieces of hide together, creating the world's very first handmade garments. Clothing was often made together as a group effort. Women, elders, and sometimes even children worked near the campfire, sewing and learning. This wasn't just about making clothes. It was about passing down survival knowledge from one generation to the next, ensuring the tribe's future. The first fur cloaks were simple but powerful. They wrapped around the body and kept out the biting cold. Wearing one gave not only warmth but also pride. For many ancient humans, clothing became more than survival. It was a symbol of strength and belonging within the tribe. Soon, humans discovered ways to make their clothing beautiful. Using natural dyes made from plants, roots, and minerals, they decorated their hides with simple patterns. Clothing was no longer just about survival. It became art, a way to express identity and creativity. For leaders and skilled hunters, clothing became a mark of power. A large decorated fur cloak showed respect, authority, and status within the tribe. What began as survival clothing was now also a symbol of leadership, separating ordinary members from those of higher rank. Making clothing was no longer an individual task. It became teamwork. Some prepared hides, others cut and stitched, while the group shared the finished garments. This collective effort brought tribes closer together, showing that survival depended not only on strength, but also on cooperation. Even the youngest were given clothing. Children wore tiny fur coats, protecting them from the harsh cold. By keeping the children safe, ancient humans ensured the survival of future generations. Warm clothing became a shield for the tribe's legacy. Extra hides and furs were carefully stored inside caves. These reserves became life-saving during long winters when hunting was scarce. It was an early form of storage and planning, proving that ancient humans were not just survivors, but forward thinkers. With warm fur clothing, humans could explore places they had never gone before. They could travel through snowy landscapes, hunt farther, and expand into new lands. Clothing wasn't just survival anymore, it was freedom, opening the door to human expansion. In the end, hides and furs gave ancient humans more than warmth. They gave safety, comfort, and hope. Families could sit together in winter, smiling in warmth rather than shivering in fear. From this humble beginning came the first chapter of fashion history, the story of how clothing was born.